me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
You know, I think it's making a difference in a young person's life. It's role modeling at its finest. For me, it's staying curious and it's wanting to continue to learn, because as much as I'm teaching them, they're also teaching me. It's a great way to get passionate individuals into your community and open their eyes and show them all the things that your department can do.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. Today, we're exploring the multifaceted world of parks and recreation. Discover how dedicated teams ensure our local ball fields and multi-use athletic complexes are safe and ready for play through meticulous field maintenance. Learn about the vital role of facility maintenance in keeping recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces functional, clean, and built to last. We're diving into forward-thinking initiatives like sustainability management, incorporating eco-friendly practices to safeguard our environment and resources. Get the inside scoop on impactful summer programs and the game-changing internship opportunities shaping the next generation of professionals. From marketing campaigns and open space assessments to hands-on program services, these internships are creating future leaders. Plus, discover the rising importance of therapeutic recreation, driving greater inclusion and accessibility within our communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, celebrating the professionals who keep our spaces thriving and our communities strong.
There we are. Okay, we are live again. Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day. I have the most special guest when it comes to intern. And I didn't realize how special he was until I started to try to find others like him. But I have talked to approaching 400 Parks and Rec directors. And even though in the beginning I didn't ask everyone about their internship program, ever since I spoke with Nick, that is one of my main questions. Tell me about your internship program. And I've been blown away that there is no two Nicks. He has got, so far, my research has shown he has the strongest college internship program for Parks and Rec. Until someone unseats him nationwide, he's the winner. So how are you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great. I'll take the crown. That's very humbling to hear. Your network is much bigger than mine, so it's great to hear.
This is our 153rd show, and along the way, I would ask people, you know, what do you think the needs of the industry are? A lot of people said, please create something for facilities maintenance. We just don't do enough for them, and that was some great advice. That part of the show has been taken off like a rocket ship. But the other population was the young people. The youth, what do they call it? Young Professionals Network. So YPN. We created a show for them, which kind of branched out into 4 categories. You've got, hadn't gotten into college yet. So these are all your part-time workers.
Yep.
That are maybe haven't made their decision as to what they're going to do with their life. I haven't chosen a career path or a degree that they're going to pursue. So that's one population. The other one is the college kids. So that now they're enrolled and in some way are kind of pointing their life towards parks and recreation, but still in school. And then you've got the first 1 to 5 years in the Parks and Rec. You're full-time employed, but you're still trying to understand what it is. And the last population was teachers, mentors, professors that are teaching this crowd. And I would say that you are creating a very rare 5th category, which is directors, assistant directors, agencies that have an internship program. And so we are going to try to grow this category out. You've inspired me. So maybe we can talk about let's just go back to the beginning of your intern experience, which I think kind of, kicked all
Yeah.
this off for you.
Yeah, so that's really how I got into this field. My undergrad program required 3 internships, and I was a sports management major. I used to think that I was going to be the next Theo Epstein, the general manager for the Boston Red Sox.
Mhm.
Um, Once I figured out, there's law school and all that involved, I kind of pivoted. Um, but through my internship process, I did one with a private organization, a soccer organization. I did one with a high school athletic department, and then I did a semester-long internship with the city of Beverly, Massachusetts recreation department. And it was the fall of my senior year that I did this internship. And in New England, like summer is king for recreation programming. So
Mm.
it was a quieter time, but I got to learn a lot about what had just happened and kind of recap everything and collate all the pictures and put together some reports. And then alternatively, I got to start to plan out some of their trips and upcoming events in the spring and the summer. So that was kind of my first foray into the rec world.
Mm.
Um, and it was revealing. I really learned like the mission is very broad, generally speaking, in the recreation field. You can, depending upon your leadership, you can go in almost any direction. So
Right.
um, I was lucky to have a great mentor at that time, Bruce Doig. He's actually still in Beverly. I don't know if he's still taking interns. I might have burned that bridge for him, but
One and done.
no, I'm sure he's had others. But that
Right.
that was how I got into it. And then once I got into the field, I said, I understand the students, um, the role that they kind of need to get that experience. And so I reached out to my old school, Endicott College, made some connections with UNH through my master's program, and kind of the floodgates just opened, and we've been
Mm.
we've been churning out great interns over the past 10 years.
Wow. And so let's when did y'all first have your first intern for, and it's Danvers, right? Danvers,
Danvers, yeah.
Massachusetts?
Yep. So even before Danvers, so I started in the city of Somersworth in New Hampshire, tiny little city, population of about 13,000. But I had my first interns when I was with the city of Somersworth. I was there about 3 years. Then I hopped down to Danvers. I've been here just over 11 years now, actually. So
Mhm.
um, it might have been that first summer that I was here. We brought on an intern. Um,
And so what's the process? So you're there, you're the assistant director for Danvers, and you're like, what's your first step? You call the local university, or you just kind of look for a college close by?
Yeah, well, first things first, I made sure that my vision was supported. I didn't want to
Right.
bring on an intern if I wasn't getting the support to make this happen. So,
What does that
I
look
was
like?
that looks like I'm a pretty open, honest, straightforward individual. I went to my director, I went to my assistant town manager and town manager and said, "Here's what I'm thinking. Do you have any thoughts, feedback, questions, concerns?" And yeah, I'm very fortunate that they were like, "Let's do it. Go ahead."
What are you thinking? Can you give us the pitch? So you're walking into their office, here's my sales pitch. Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was. The first time was probably a little bit different than what it is now. So, um,
We'll take them
you
both. That way we see the evolution.
um, we have a really robust summer program here. We hire about 100 part-time seasonal individuals, whether they're park rangers,
Mhm.
whether they're working in the office doing marketing, or whether they're actually providing direct services and working at the camp. So everyone kind of knows that about our operation. So I thought it was an easy sell. I basically said, "Look, I've got X, Y, and Z to do this summer. We've got marketing that I want to ramp up. We've got just people collecting data analytics. We need help with taking pictures at special events. I'd like to bring on an intern to help me do that because I can't do everything."
Mhm.
And I was fortunate that they were like, "That makes perfect sense. Let's do that. You're right." Um,
And
I
how is
then
that different from the one today? Was that your old one or was that your recent one?
That was my old one. I think just kind of me coming in saying like, I need help,
Mm.
and saying, okay, we trust you. Today they know that I can run a good internship program. They
Mhm.
trust and respect my ability um, to assign duties that are relevant. They're not just running errands all day. They're actually, I like to give them a project that they can work on in their downtime, that when the tables are turned and they go for an interview after college, they can say, here's a project that I worked on with Danvers
Mm.
Recreation. And it can be that kind of foundational piece of, oh, this person actually does know what they're doing. Look at the study they did for Danvers Recreation, or the needs
Mm.
assessment that they conducted. So um, today it's
Now,
just a much easier. Hey, I'm bringing them on. Any concerns? Nope. All right, let's do
good
this.
to go. And
Yep.
it's a paid internship, correct? And I know
Mhm.
it depends on their skill set. So you told me what it ranges from 16 to 20.
Yeah, it's 16 to 20. Usually it's 16. Um, uh, we would go above 16 if they have a wealth of experience in the field.
Mhm.
Um, and I can give you an example of that. We had a master's student who was studying at Arkansas State University,
Mhm.
which is very, very far from Danvers. But it was it was an online program,
Yeah.
and he was a physical education teacher in a nearby school district, and came with us with just a wealth of experience in working with children, being a leader, and he warranted kind of step 3 on our pay scale. So
Right. Right. And so give me some more examples of the projects. Well, I'd like to go into, what their day-to-day looks like. Well, first of all, it is a semester, so that is, what's that, like 2.5 months?
yeah, 2.5
Um,
months.
and is it full-time or is it 20 hours a week or does it range or
We typically take them on full time. So they're
okay.
here with us 30 to 40 hours. We have had, a couple um, exceptions to that. One of the schools nearby has Fridays in class. So they'll be on site for their internship Monday through Thursday, then Fridays they're in class. So it depends on the school's model.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So
yeah.
they're
But
still in school and the school gives them that semester to go full time. That way they're really immersed into it. It's not like a nighttime job, classes during the day. So this isn't like working as a waiter where it's like a
right.
nighttime job. It's a true internship with the university and they're encouraging them to go find internships.
Absolutely. So I think that's kind of I don't want to say it's the cheat code for us, but that kind of leads to our success because there's
Mm.
these built-in requirements through their curriculum. So uh, we definitely benefit from that. And me having a good relationship with those professors goes a long way too, to make sure that we're getting hardworking, you know, individuals who want to make a difference in the community.
And what university do you use? Just one or you have multiple?
Multiple. So our primary one, I would say, is my where I did my undergrad, which is Endicott College.
How do you
That's
spell that?
Beverly, Mass. Endicott.
College. Okay. We're gonna have to get them on the show.
Yeah, I can make that happen for you.
I'm wanting to do
Um,
it. And which professor are you connected? Multiple, or are you working with
multiple.
the so do you work with their is there like a placement program or an internship kind of person that knows
Yes.
what you're doing and kind of helps guide people like you that have these opportunities for interns?
Yep. Exactly. They have an internship coordinator who I
Mm.
believe his primary role is to kind of facilitate the students into these opportunities, help them find those opportunities. The semester beforehand, they go through a whole course where they have to work on their resume and they have
Mm.
to, draft cover letters and do some mock interviews. So they kind of queue them up nicely for this opportunity. But then when they
Nice.
struggle, the internship coordinator comes in and says, like, here, reach out to X, Y, and Z, see if you can set up an interview. And
Yep.
uh, yeah.
That's fantastic. That's some real life skills there. I'm glad to
Mhm.
see the universities are starting to, help them in
Yeah.
that.
And so outside of Endicott, we also use UNH, the University of New Hampshire, quite a bit. Um,
UNH, that's University of New Hampshire.
Yep.
And how many professors? So when you, well, first of all, is that all of them, or you just have Endicott?
Those are the two
Endicott,
primary ones.
University.
There's some other ones. Salem State University, which is right around the corner from us. Merrimack College is another one. But that's the meat and potatoes. Every now and then we get someone from like I said, Arkansas State or Coastal Carolina, Xavier University.
Mhm.
We've gotten quite a few from all over. So
Now let's talk about. You said it's really important to have a good relationship with the professors. So where do they come in? They're not the internship coordinator. They're just in charge of the classroom that
yep.
teaches in some way Parks and Rec-ish degree.
Yes. Yeah. So a little bit of a different dynamic. We'll use Endicott and UNH as the two examples, but Endicott College, I've got a great rapport with. Obviously, as an alumni, I'll occasionally go back and speak to classes, and kind of tell them about the opportunities outside of the sports world. I kind of picture myself in the student seats, thinking I'm going to be the next Red Sox general manager.
Mhm.
So I'll walk in and say, "There's more to your degree than just the big dreams of working for the Celtics or the Red Sox or whatever it might be." And then I'll kind of paint the picture of how they can make a difference in their communities. So
Ah,
I've built that relationship with the professors to come in and kind of just have like a, hey, don't discredit your hometown Parks and Rec department. They actually have some good opportunities that you could get involved with tomorrow if you wanted to. So
so you're having a one-on-one conversation with the professor.
yep.
And the professor is the one. So is the professor recommending to the kids, hey, you might be a good fit for, and because he's in front of the kids all the time, he can kind of see which ones are good fits? Or is there
Yeah,
like a guidance counselor in addition to that that's also doing some of that work?
they will bring me in to speak in front of their class. So
Oh,
I will
perfect.
I will say, if you have questions, concerns, comments, interest in working, like here's my contact info. So sometimes that path leads right to me. But other times, yes, they will kind of go to their internship coordinator and say, "Oh, I'm really having a hard time finding my internship. What should I do?" And that's when I'll get the call or the email to say, "Hey, Nick, any chance you got any space for another intern this spring or this summer?"
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, so imagine once you're kinda set up in their system and you have a few good ones come through, then you just become a regular pipeline once they understand who you are, what you're doing.
yes, yeah, it's been a great relationship.
Mm.
Similarly with Endicott, with the University of New Hampshire too.
Mhm.
Um, I've built a rapport over the years. We've had some graduate students do studies for us, like a needs assessment, kind of like their master's thesis. And
Mhm.
then that relationship kind of opened up more doors to, oh, we've got some other students who are interested in doing some work for you guys. Would you have any capacity to bring them in? So it's been a
Mm.
win-win across the board.
Yeah, and I imagine, they're probably even pushing you to take more because 'cause they've got a lot of students. Um,
Yeah,
are you kinda
that's
one
for
of the
sure.
sought after internships? I would imagine?
I think so. If you pay, generally speaking, you're a sought after internship.
Right.
Um, so I think that alone kind of puts us into a different category. But then, yeah, also having that reputation and that connection with the professors and the program, um, it
Yeah.
makes us kind of gives us a leg up, we'll say.
Yeah, maybe we can do so I have a show dedicated to, Young Professionals Network. It's Friday at 12 noon. I'd like to maybe even see if we can get the internship coordinator, the professor, and you, just
Sure.
whichever ones you're closest to. Um, maybe even one of the interns, if they'd be open to it, whichever one you have had or currently
Sure.
have or whatever. And that way we can kinda do a panel and kinda see the whole thing, how it operates, and kinda
Yeah.
demystify it for all of America because it is, I am shocked at how rare this is. I'd love to find more. So if you know of anybody else that has a good internship program like yourself, please help me get in touch with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can think
Aside
of
from
one or
Molly.
two other communities. But
Molly's doing great. She's, like, right up there. She's not where you're at, but she's got it.
awesome.
Um All right, so you get your intern, day 1, what does that look like?
Day one, we're we're not throwing too much at them. We're giving them a tour of our facilities. Um, we're having them kind of review our social media, just kind of understanding what we're offering, what we're doing, what the mission is, and where they are. Um, from there, as that first day kind of progresses into that first week, we'll start taking them to some programs. We'll let them kind of, if they want to participate in some of the activities that we've going on, they might participate. But generally speaking, it's kind of a slow build up.
Mm.
I'll toss them a couple of assignments. Two in particular, I'll see if they have the ability to do some marketing campaigns, see how creative they are. So I'll ask them to create a flyer for one of our summer programs, just to kind of see where their ability is. And then similarly, I'll throw them an inventory. Can you break down the inventory of supplies and shoot me a spreadsheet, just to see if they have those skills, whether they're more technically inclined or creative. And, usually you get back, the work that they give back is pretty telling. And you can tell pretty quickly whether or not this person has the ability to go in that direction or that direction. Or you can sit them down and you can see how they are with feedback and constructive feedback. And, if you try doing this with that, come out a little bit better. Oh, sure. I'm happy to try that. Let me try it. Or no, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah. So the first day to week is kind of an introduction and assessment period where you're introducing them to what y'all do, what you have to offer, what the mission vision of a Parks and Rec department is, and then trying to assess their skill level.
Yep.
Is there any, do y'all have several to choose from? Or they just kind of assign you one, you take the one they get, or do you say, here's 3, pick one, or you're not there yet?
So I have a pretty good understanding and relationship with the professors that we talked about. So they kind of know, like, I can maybe do 2. There have been times where I've had 3, which gets tough. But usually 1 or 2 is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And that allows me the ability to, it's hard for me to do my day-to-day job, right? So having them assist with certain facets of it, I think helps me go a long way. So I want to make sure if I have 2, they understand their responsibilities. They understand the mission of our organization, and they're a good fit. So I don't usually stray beyond that.
Now, do you get, did they send you here's 1 or 2 potential candidates and their resumes? Why don't you tell us which one, is kind of speaking to you, or do they just send you one?
We'll still conduct an interview. So we will make it, I want to make sure that they're coming in and they're taking it serious. So there have been times where they said, hey, we've got a couple, will you hear them out? And
Nice.
we'll do a little interview. I don't hit them with any, real serious, hard questions. And I certainly don't make them, come dressed to the nines just for a summer internship or something like that. But no, they generally just reach out about 1 or 2 at a time and say, hey, let me know if this is an opportunity. And if I have the capacity, I'll say, sure, come on, let's set it up. Let's bring them in and take it from there.
Now, what are some of the interview questions that you're asking?
Usually I'm asking them for background. I want to know what types of experiences they have, and if any of them are able to relate to the Parks and Rec field. We do have a standard
athletes or something, people that have played team sports, or maybe if they have a Park and Rec background at all. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. Half the time, and maybe even more than half the time, the student that's sitting across the table from me doesn't necessarily understand what we do. So there's an education in the interview. I will tell them, like, thanks for coming in today. Here's a little bit about us. Here's what we do. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and let's see if we can find a common ground to connect with.
Okay.
We usually don't throw any, crazy questions in there. I'll occasionally be like, if you were a kitchen appliance, what would you be and why? Nothing too crazy, but
that's a great question.
Yeah. Blender is the answer.
Blender is the common answer. I'm not even sure what I would be. That's a good, I'm going to have to keep that question. Okay. So they've gotten past their first week. Tell me about some of the projects that you give them that are resume quality. This is something they can be proud of that would actually show their skill level and stuff. Well, first of all, how long does it take you to kind of assess, okay, this would be a good project for them? Are we talking a couple weeks in that you kind of understand who
Yeah,
they are a little bit better?
I would say we have an understanding of where their interest and skill levels are.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'll throw a couple projects out there that we've done recently that have been successful. Um, One being a marketing brochure. So here's our fall and winter programs. I would like you to combine them into one notebook style pamphlet. And I've had great success with that. We get some really creative interns. Uh, we've also had some that go in the opposite direction of that, and they've done an open space and recreation assessment for us. So they'll go out, they'll count all the amenities in our parks. We've got 76 park benches collectively across these parks, and you've got 14 ball fields with 12 backstops, and just kind of giving us that
Mhm.
capital kind of inventory, and assigning them those types of projects is one less thing that I have to do. So it's great. I'll
Right.
also have you take pictures and catalog it. Um, but it's either generally speaking, it's either more creative, more technical, or it's direct service where we will actually incorporate them into our programs, and they'll almost serve as a counselor in a sense. And they'll be leading the dodgeball games, or
Mm.
um, helping out with snack time at whatever program it might be. So that's just a couple assignments that we've done recently.
Right.
But we've done a handful over the years.
Now you're already hiring part-time workers to do this. So we're talking about high schoolers. And so in a way, they're kind of in there with them. These are already somewhat paid. What do you pay your part-time workers? What's the lowest you pay them? And then what's their range? Like a
We
concession stand worker or something.
Yeah, so minimum wage in Massachusetts is 15. We hire first timers at 16. So if
Mhm.
this is your first job, we're hiring you a dollar above minimum wage here in
There we
Massachusetts.
go.
Yeah. We want to stand out a little bit over the McDonald's or the Dunkin' Donuts, or
Right.
whatever the other jobs in town are. So we try to separate ourselves a little bit there.
Mhm.
Um, it seems to work.
Okay, so you've really got a large group of part-timers, and so this is someone that's maybe at least should be a notch above in skill level.
Mhm.
And so are the graphics designers and stuff, is that something that you have, is that kind of the college they're in? Are they like in graphics design? Or what are the different colleges? And I don't mean college like the university level, but like the
Yeah.
school of graphics design or the school of, all the different degrees they have.
Yeah. Generally speaking, we get um, sports management and or communications majors. And with the sports management one, it's not fully heavy on like content creation. I will also we'll go soup to nuts on the program. I'll
Mm.
have them sit in, like, I'll give you an example. Our football summer program, we run 2 1-week camps, and I'll have an intern sit in with me, meet the football coordinator coach. Um, And then from there, we'll kick up a marketing campaign. We're going to create some flyers. We're going to post them on social media. We're going to put them strategically throughout town, at the library, at the parks. We're going to laminate them. We're going to stick them up on the fences. Then we're going to track registration. We're going to handle any types of questions, concerns that come in. We're going to be the point person for that coach when the coach calls and says, "Hey, I don't have enough footballs, or I need t-shirts or water bottles." Um, we might create a branded water bottle that we're going to give out to every kid. I'll assign the intern to be in charge of that. Same with the t-shirt. So soup to nuts will kind of build the program from the ground up. They'll get to work with that coach. They'll get to see how this program can come to life. And then on the other side of it, it's a post-assessment survey. It's, an inventory of equipment at the end of the day. Did we bring back all the footballs that we put out? It's also an analysis of the fundings. How much did we spend? How much did we bring in? Did we break even? Did we pay the coach? And then there's also the satisfaction survey, sending it out to all participants. So I will have the interns help out with all of that. So
wow, that's quite a project.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
and it's
there's a lot of moving parts, and you get to see it from concept to launch to having it to assess afterwards to all the financials. That's a big one.
Sometimes the light bulb goes off, right? Sometimes they say, hey, I could run a program like that too, right? Like, especially with the college athletes that we get, they could say, yeah, I might want to try to run something like this when this program ends. I want to start my own. So it's nice to see that like realization of this is fun. I could do this. And now they're running their own programs.
And actually one of my sponsors, the sponsor for the Youth Sports Mastery, he has a company, it's a franchise company where he finds this young athletes that want to do coaching for a living. And he has the whole roadmap and a lot of Parks and Rec departments. And so, he can basically set them up a whole business and help them do this for a living, essentially run these programs. And then the cities just provide they get a percentage of it. And then they get, I have to understand his whole structure a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, you can leave an internship program and go straight into, if you have a little entrepreneurial genetics, go straight into running your own business, just coaching.
Absolutely.
A lot of great opportunities there. Okay, let me go ahead and play this little commercial that I made for the Friday show, and then we'll come back and talk about that real quick.
Sounds
The
great.
future of parks and recreation is here, and it starts with you. Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show, where we bring you the latest insights, trends, and conversations shaping the world of parks and recreation. Today, we're diving into something that's shaping the future of our industry, Young Professional Networks, or YPN. If you love your job and love the parks and recreation community and are looking to connect with the next generation of leaders, this episode is for you. YPN is where driven, passionate professionals come together to connect, grow, and make a real impact. It's not just about networking, it's about building the future of our communities. Why join YPN? Career growth and mentorship. Learn from the best in the industry. Innovative ideas and collaboration. Be part of the next big movement. Leadership development. Take charge, make decisions, and create change. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your career to the next level, YPN is your gateway to success. From exclusive networking opportunities to cutting-edge industry insights, this is where you build your legacy. Because the future of parks and recreation starts with you.
All right. First, I'm going to give a few instructions to my producer. So, Chris, after you watch this episode with Nick, I'd like to create a new intro, a new commercial for YPN, because we made that when we just discovered it. And you can, Chris, you can incorporate a lot of the different aspects that we discovered from the four populations. And then I'd like to even incorporate something about finding an internship program that you could maybe spend an internship with, kind of like everything Chris is discovering. And let's make that version 2.0 commercial. I think we're due for one. So thank you for helping us to create this, Nick. We are literally creating it real time. Probably in the next, usually takes about 2 or 3 weeks to come out a final edit, a version 2.0 commercial. But I really want this show to be kind of the foundation of our version 2.
Love it. Sounds great.
Okay, so have you gotten any hires from this? Have you basically taken any of the internships and brought them on full time?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying Trying to think of our most relevant example. Um, a couple summers ago, we had a student from the University of New Hampshire who did an internship with us and started to do a lot of research on the therapeutic recreation side of things for
Mm.
us. This student was a recreation management student specializing in therapeutic rec. And she started to scratch that itch for our community and see where we're lacking with inclusion and how we could be more accessible. And fast forward to this past month, really, and we have just hired her to be our certified therapeutic recreation specialist going forward. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so her internship from 2 years ago, I think set kind of put the wheels in motion a little bit, set the foundation for our department, and then through the interview process came out as a clear winner for us to hire.
Mm.
We're really excited. She hasn't started yet, but we're really excited to hit the ground running. So
Yeah, well, maybe her first job will be to come onto that Friday show with you and the professor.
we could make that happen. I'm sure we could.
And the internship coordinator, and we're like, all right, here's your first job. We're gonna create a model for America to follow.
Love it.
I really think this is going to be a very powerful model. Because maybe pitch. So imagine you're talking to other directors. They watch this episode and they're like, I really like what I heard from you. Maybe or somebody told me to talk to you about it. What's your pitch? What's your pitch to them? This is why you should hire interns. This is what it's done for me. It's what it's done for our community.
Sure. I think it's making a difference in a young person's life. It's role modeling at its finest. It's also, for me, it's staying curious and it's wanting to continue to learn, because as much as I'm teaching them, they're also teaching me.
Mm,
I'm learning a lot about how, I just turned 40, but I'm learning what these 20-year-olds are even speaking, right? They all
mhm.
have their own language now. Some of the
Right.
phrases and the expressions that I used when I was their age are long gone, and I'm learning things that I never thought I would learn. But I mean,
Mhm.
that aside, I think it's a great way to get um, passionate individuals into your community and open their eyes and show them all the things that your department can do. Here in Danvers, again, super fortunate that we have a big mission, a broad vision, and we can do almost anything we want to do. So it's getting those students in, and it's
Mhm.
it's letting them realize I can make a difference in this field and I
Right.
can be a player. So
Right.
um, that's why other departments should bring them on.
Yeah, and speaking as a former master electrician that for a time was in charge of training, at the trade school and training people up, and I don't think there was a time that I was not put in charge of teaching my craft that I didn't learn something from teaching. And
Mhm.
so I think just as a general rule, if you wanna master something, put yourself in a teacher position. I'm not
Yeah.
saying be a professor at a school, but an internship is a great example. I would have, like, a little mentee or a journeyman or
Yep.
a helper, and I would just teach them the craft, and I would always be learning s it's almost like I was teaching myself as I was teaching. So I know that's gotta help you. Is there anything you've learned, from them as far as now you're kinda set up to teach what Parks and Rec is to them?
Yeah. I mean, I've had individuals come in with ideas that I've never thought of for programming.
Mm,
Um, when here's a great example: when pickleball, I don't know how big it is down in the South, but it's
huge.
erupting. It's
It's huge.
erupting here in the Northeast.
It's
Um,
disruptive.
uh, we had a student intern. I think this was in 2016, so it's a ways back. But he had this idea of renovating 2 dilapidated tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts. And at the time, pickleball wasn't really a thing here in Danvers. It had just started to kind of become popular in the area, but we didn't have any courts and we didn't have any leagues. And fast forward to today, we've got 6 courts, and those courts are packed sun up to sundown. It's one of the most popular things in town. So that was something that I learned from a student to say, like, this is a great reason why you would want to bring someone in, because they might have an idea that I haven't heard of, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, are they shadowing you at all, or how many hours? So during the internship, how many hours are you spending with them? Is it like a daily touch where you just like check in with them in the morning and the evening kind of thing, or what's the routine that you communicate with?
We have generally a smaller office, so we're seeing every single person in the office, including the interns, every day. So I'm always there. Fun story about my office. We used to have like cubicle walls. One of the first things I did was take that wall down. So it's a very open concept in my office. And so if they ever have a question, I'm always available, because I don't have a door to close. But also, I will give them assignments that, if I'm tied up in a meeting, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm out of office, they'll always have something that they can continue to work on. So we'll set some expectations, and we'll set a foundation early of, here's what I want you to work on. Here's kind of your semester long project. Take your time with it, be thorough, but feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. So,
and if I'm ever too busy, here's some fallback busy work stuff you can do, take an inventory, whatever. And then as soon as I'm free, I'll get back with you kind of stuff. So you give them a few of those to go with.
Absolutely. They'll get thrown right into just the office. We have a very busy office. We'll get a lot of people coming in to sign up for programs, or the phones are ringing. They're providing assistance across the board, all summer long or all spring long. So
they're just thrown into the chaos.
Oh yeah.
I love it. That's the best way to learn, by the way. By the way, it doesn't get any better once you get hired on full time.
No.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. I think that's why a lot of people join Parks and Rec, is because there's always something exciting. It's always fun. It can be challenging, but it's kind of like climbing a mountain.
I'll tell them on day one, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do A, B, and C, but I'm probably not going to get to B or C, and I'm lucky if I get to A, because the nature of this job, it's crazy.
And D hasn't even shown up yet, but it'll show up probably around noon.
Exactly.
Or at 4.
Yeah, but it's setting those expectations and making sure that understanding is there with the intern. That way they're not lost and just floundering. So communication goes a long way.
So now your rhythm is at least 3 a year. Is that right? You're doing 1 for the 2 semesters and 1 during the summer, or y'all are 2 a year, or what's your cadence now?
Sometimes we've done 4 a year. Summer will traditionally always do 2. Spring or fall we'll take 1.
Okay.
2 if we're have a project coming up and could use some assistance, or if the professor made a really good plea to me that the student really needs some help.
They beg sufficiently. You'll find a spot for them. Yes. Okay. So that's at least 4, or at least a good rhythm of 4 a year, 2 during the semesters, the summer semesters, and spring and fall 1.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are there any, as far as, let's see, they were paid interns. Oh, how far in advance do they communicate? Here's your next kid coming up. Here's your next college student coming up.
Yeah. So ideally, it's in the middle of the fall for a spring internship, or middle of the spring for a summer internship. So usually it's like a season ahead. But there are times when it's, hey, Nick, can you help me out? This is, the professor from the college. Could you, we've got a student who's really struggling to find an internship, and I know you guys have a good program. Could you throw us a bone? Sure.
Right.
We'll work with you.
Now, how often are you going to speak at the colleges, or how often do they invite you to speak in front of the class?
So I just started doing that recently. The past couple of semesters, I've popped in, and I love it. It's a great way to kind of get some face time and kind of speak to the profession. So
Mhm.
I think I've done it 2 or 3 times in the past year.
Yeah.
So it's very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Yeah. So I know one of the issues that we're having in this industry is we're stuck in this category, or at least we think we are. Maybe we're not, but we think we're stuck in this category called discovery major or discovery career path. I didn't even know there was a job in Parks and Recreation kind of thing. And
Mhm.
then I would say half the people I've interviewed, so out of the roughly 400, 200 of y'all would say that I didn't even realize I kind of fell into this. And the other half are just literally park rats, and they've been here since they could walk. And they knew they were going to be in park, or their dad was in Parks and Rec, and so this is where
Yeah.
they were going to end up no matter what. Um, but it's still a shocking amount of college kids and high school juniors that are trying to figure, do I want to be an engineer? Do I want to be a nurse? That on that list is not the profession of Parks and Recreation, which is shocking to me because this in many communities, you are the largest employer of high school kids. And many of us, the first job ever that we've ever had was as a lifeguard, as a camp counselor, and we're missing the mark. um, I still don't understand why it's not. But anyway, I think maybe if you can give a testimony to just giving back to the industry and helping raise awareness of the profession of Parks and Recreation, what would be your message to other Parks and Rec assistant directors as to the power of a good internship program?
I think that was a great encapsulation by you. I can really resonate with that. You're either a park rat or you kind of fell into it. So
Yep.
um, that just makes perfect sense to me. But if I'm talking to my colleagues, on the benefits of an internship, it's kind of catching. I would say both of those buckets, right? So those park rats, even though they've been working as a summer counselor their whole life, they might not realize that this is a profession that they can do full
Mhm.
time. So an internship is a great way for them to help them realize, oh, I can do this full time. And then the other side of it, the ones that fall into it, I think it's that continuing education. It's me going to speak in front of that class, or it's me at the conference, kind of pitching the benefits of an internship to my colleagues. I think there's just so many opportunities in this field that the youngsters just don't even realize are there. So it's just a continuous education.
Right.
And if my colleagues who are sitting in a similar chair, assistant directors and directors, um, are wondering, what's the future of this department going to look like? It's it's good that they're thinking forward like that, but B, it's um, how do I get out there and make that difference? How do I connect with my community? So an internship is a great way for people to create that exposure and create that reality for these young professionals.
Now, do you have any idea of what and by the way, I just did a quick search.
Mhm.
So just how big this industry is. The one I was familiar with was electricians. How many electricians are there in America? This is where I spent
Mhm.
2 decades of my life,
Yep.
and there's about 762,600 licensed electricians in America. Uh, by s by some estimates that I've seen, there's and this is quite a large industry. There's about 350 to 400,000 park and rec professionals in America. So this is not like a tiny fringe industry, and
Right.
every city in America has a parks and rec department.
Mhm.
So it really is quite a big industry that we're representing here for the college kids. It's not like as many college kids thinks they're going to play in the NBA, and there's only a tiny, tiny bit of them, like 400 jobs available for that. So tell me more about the associations in your area. Are they doing anything for the young professionals? Is there opportunities to maybe attend a state association event, or do you attend the regional one, correct? The
Yeah,
Northern
so there,
New England?
there's two that I can speak to pretty well. The Northern New England's Recreation and Parks Conference. Actually, this year, my colleague Christine Dean, who's the community center director in Lexington, her and I, on behalf of Massachusetts, will be putting on the Northern New England's conference. It's our turn. We kind of rotate which state is in charge
Mm,
every year, but we'll be organizing it this year. And one of my roles with that committee is to award student scholarships.
mm,
So every year we get a handful of student scholars who come in and help with the conference. Usually they're room hosts, moderators, they're collecting CEU forms, various other odds and ends. But uh, it's a great way for us to kind of expose them to some of the professional speakers that we're bringing in, and also network with my peers who are in the room to learn more about their profession. So that's one good example that I can give you. And
yeah.
and shout out Northerns. We got to get you there, Craig. That would be a great conference for you to
Yes,
come.
I am. I've actually, so I'm looking for a sponsor. I have a couple that I'm talking to because I had mentioned to them I want to go to a couple of. I want to take the show on the road,
Love it.
and yours was one of them that I've got earmarked to try to get there. So
It'd be great. You get professionals from Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire,
yeah,
Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Like it's a great collective conference, and we get about 300 professionals at that
yeah.
conference. It's a really, really good take.
And it's
Um,
at a ski resort, correct? Second week in
it is
January. I have that right?
second week. Yep, second week in January at Attach Resort.
Yeah.
Um,
Do y'all
it's
go skiing, or
oh
is
yeah,
that like one of the things to do?
if time permits. I always bring my skis, but I don't necessarily always get out because I'm usually running around. But
Right.
yeah, there's skiing right out the back door. So you just
Oh man,
strap your skis on and or snowboard and hop
snowboarding.
right on the
That's
mountain.
well. I'm going to do my best to try to get there. Um, Maybe give a little bit more information about the, and it's open to anybody. Anybody can attend this nationwide.
Anybody can attend it nationwide. We had a couple folks from Georgia over the past few years who came up and
Mhm.
attended. But yeah, it's just great. It's usually 2.5 days of professional development and networking, and um, hotel rooms are right on the resort. The conference is right on the resort. You don't have to leave the building if you don't want to. Um, you get a variety of perspectives. We do a really in-depth reach for speakers. We've
Mhm.
had really great keynotes, and you can get close to 1.0 credited hours for your continuing education units.
Mm.
So, and I should also plug the socials are outstanding.
Mm.
We usually bring in a variety of entertainers, DJ or karaoke. We've done
Love it.
casino nights. It's a lot of fun. This past year was our 40th conference, so we did a throwback 40 years. So we had kind of a retro night where everybody dressed
Mm.
in 1980s garb, a lot of good wigs and neon colors. Um, but it's a lot of fun. The networking is next level, and you can't find better people anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's my
So
shameless plug for.
what's the population that y'all can handle? Like how many attendees?
I think there's 150 rooms, so however
Mhm.
many people we can pack into those rooms.
Right.
Um,
10
there,
people to a room. That's 1,500.
um, we usually offer like 4 education sessions at a time,
Right.
with capacity to upwards of 50 to 75 per room.
Mm.
Um, so we usually sell the place out, and then people will stay down the road just to come. So
Yeah.
it's a really good take.
When does registration open, or is it already open?
Registration, I should know this answer. I believe it's open. If you go to the northernnew.englands.com website, it might be open. We actually have a touch base on Thursday. I can dial that in a little bit better, but if it's not open, it will be soon. But I'm pretty sure.
let me type it in. Northern. I've already looked it up. It came in a common search.
We are actively seeking speakers at this point. So,
Well, you might have to plug me in for podcasting, media creation.
we'd love it. We'd love it. Come on up. You'll have a blast.
Let's see, share. I'll go ahead and share screen and we can, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so there it is. That's the website, right?
That's the website. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And that's, let's see, where do I register? Does it have the date?
If you click on the register now, right there. You were almost on it. It's right in the center. It's in the yellow banner.
There we go. Right here. Does it show like a date itinerary?
Nope. So it's not open yet, but it will be soon.
Stay tuned for important information. Yeah, January 12th. Oh, it's going to be my birthday. My birthday's on the 13th. It'll be a good birthday present for myself to go snowboarding.
Awesome. We'll sing happy birthday to you.
That's it. All right, I'm going to do my best to get here.
We'll get you a cake too. Yeah, come on up. That'd be great. It would be awesome to have you.
Yeah, that would be, and I'd love to do the show. I've actually done, let's see, I did Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, and I almost went to California, but I just could not pull it off. I had the invite, I just could not move my schedule. But this is far enough in advance, to be able to do the podcast on the road. And what we end up doing is we'll do like kind of like we're having right now. We'll just interview people, whether they're vendors or like yourself, people that just attend or hosting the show. And then we just kind of, I think in Alabama, we did like 16 podcasts while we were there over a couple of days.
That's incredible.
We just kept rolling them through. And then I think I'm supposed to be speaking. I'm not in charge of where I speak, but I'm supposed to be speaking at a couple others. And then there's another similar, it's on facilities maintenance, but it's Southwest Parks something Society. I think I'll be doing it from there and speaking as well. So yeah, I'd love to attend.
Yeah, it's a great touch point. Like I said, you'll get some networking in with all of New England at this conference. So it's a good one.
I love it. Now, how about the state associations? Are you active in those as well?
I am. So I'm the president-elect in Massachusetts. So it's my job this upcoming year to plan our conference. So
man, you'll be busy.
Got
with
a lot on my plate this upcoming year.
Now, how big is that one?
Similar in size. It might actually be a little bit bigger than Northern's. Massachusetts, we have 351 municipalities. So each one, generally speaking, has their own recreation department. So we get a good attendance at our Massachusetts State Conference, that's for sure. I think we were upwards of 350 this past year, including vendors. So it's a really good team. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a little powerhouse. I think Molly's in there, correct? Isn't that her state?
No, I'm not sure. I think she's come in the past.
Yeah.
But
I
think she's technically in Connecticut, right? So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a great conference as well. So I've got to plan that one out. We're quickly trying to find a venue for next year. We just learned that our venue from our past conference is going to be under construction. So I'm actively pursuing another location that can accommodate a group that big. And then once we nail that down, then it's, starting the recruitment for speakers and setting up the marketing to, bring it all home. So it's going to be fun.
Okay. So I'm going to ask that question to you. What was it again? If you were something in the kitchen, an appliance, what was the question again? I want to write it down.
If you were a kitchen or a household appliance, what would you be and why?
Okay. So what is it for you?
For me, like I said, the answer would be a blender, right? So you can throw anything at me, and generally speaking, I can make it work. I think I'm a collaborative individual, and I think the blender is the epitome of a kitchen collaborator. So that's my answer. But
Man, that's a great answer. Okay, I'm going to ask that on the show from now on.
I've
Okay,
gotten
now,
a lot of weird ones over the years, though. It's a fun one to ask.
now here's a new one. And you'll be the first, so I don't have one for you, but I want you to ask a question to my next guest.
Okay.
What's your question for my next guest if you had to pick? And it's probably going to be a director, assistant director.
Um,
And I'll tell them it came from you.
and is the premise that I'm trying to hire this person?
No,
Or
this is another director of another park system somewhere in America, or an
okay.
assistant director. So our Leaders in Parks and Rec show is like a 4-day-a-week show. And so tomorrow, let me see, I can tell you who's it going to be too.
Okay.
What question do you have for Thomas White? He is the marketing director for Henry County, Georgia, one of the best counties in America. As far they're right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
So what question do you have for Thomas?
For Thomas, I want to know how Thomas is connecting with the young professionals and the youth in his community.
Oh, he's throwing it right at him.
Yeah, I mean, if it sounds like marketing is a big piece of his pie, so I would just love to know, are you connecting with the young professionals? Are you connecting with the next generation of employees, and how? So often in our field, I feel like so much of our communication goes out to families or athletes, and that college student or high school teenager kind of slips through the cracks sometimes. So I'd love to hear what he's doing.
He might be listening right now. So Thomas, if you are, you got a heads up on this question for you. Well, man, this has been a great interview. I really want to try to organize. What I'll do is I'll create a group chat on LinkedIn, and I'll call it internship program or whatever. And I'll include you and my networker, who's Sherry, connects me with a lot of people. And
Awesome.
then if you want to pick whichever professor and internship coordinator, and maybe we can rope in this new intern that's starting in a few weeks, and we'll try to do it on that Friday show because it's dedicated to it. And however many Fridays in the future we can plan it a month from now or whenever we can get it all together.
Sounds like a great plan. I love it. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and congratulations on the King of Internship award. That I haven't met a person that unseats you yet. So until then, you're it.
Yeah, and if anybody's looking for tips or advice on how to get one stood up, I'm always happy to help you out with that. So.
Yeah, fantastic work you're doing, Nick. Keep it up.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, appreciate you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah. All right. What a great episode that was. Okay, if you've got to watch this episode, please share this with every park and rec director or assistant director because Nick has got one of the best internship programs I've come across. And I've been asking every director, I do 3 phone calls a day with directors, 2 to 3 a day, because it's not always a director or sometimes assistant director or superintendent. But for the most part, every time I ask the question, tell me about your internship program, it's typically crickets. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, well, we did have an internship a couple years ago, but I need to maybe invest a little bit more. I just kind of don't know where to start. Well, this show kind of, Nick, lays out for you what you need to do to start your internship program. And then we're going to create another special with him, the professor, the what do they call it, internship coordinator, and an intern, and myself. So that'll be 5 of us, and I want to create some type of framework, maybe even like, I got to make a spreadsheet. So I'm going to make a spreadsheet on this, and that way we can give it out to the park system of America and say, hey, here's how you make a strong internship program. And I will even personally present on this because I think it is a critical part of us finding and bringing in the next generation of strong parks and rec professionals is having robust internship programs operating in every agency in America. I don't see why every agency in America would not have a good internship program, especially since even if it's just like during the summer, there's so much summer work to be done. You're typically already paying part-time staff to show up. And so why not have one of those be a college intern that perhaps might want to work in the industry to help you run your little league summer programs or whatever, your special events that you have. Also, another great episode. Let me see if I can Command F this real quick. Put in Molly keys. Episode number 75. Molly did a great one. Hold on. No, it wasn't. It was the YPN one. I did interview Molly on episode 75, but then she came back and did another great episode with her and her internship. I'll have to find out which one that is. Yeah, anyway, I'll have it for you on the next one. But she brought her intern on. It was me, her, and her intern. I remember because I was in New Orleans at some coffee shop. I had to do it from there. And Molly did a great job on that internship with that girl. I can't remember her, and I think her name was Alice or something like that. But anyway, shout out to Nick Campion. Great job. I will do my best to bring this show up to the Northern New England, which is kind of like a regional Parks and Rec convention. Anybody in America can come, but limited space. I think they probably only have room for 350-ish people. I think 150 rooms is what he said. So book as soon as you can. And hopefully you will see Craig LeBlanc, the doorman, and our entire filming crew. And if you are in attendance, please stop by, say hello, tell us what's going on in your world of Parks and Recreation, and jump on the podcast. So this is Craig LeBlanc signing off for today's show of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, Leaders in Parks and Rec. We will see y'all tomorrow. I have a special guest coming on for the, it is my maintenance show, which starts at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday also. And I think I have Ryan Brewer yes, it is Ryan Brewer. And Ryan has got a massive, he's got this huge sports complex. And I think in the next couple of weekends, he's got some massive event that's like a week-long sports event. And so we're going to learn all about that. So don't miss out tomorrow's show with Ryan Brewer. And then Thomas White is coming on, who we're also making a podcast with. So his entire department, from the executive director, athletic coordinator, Thomas is in charge of marketing and a bunch of other things, assistant director, finance. We're making a monthly podcast called The Rec Room for Henry County, Georgia. And it's one of the best run counties in America when it comes to Parks and Rec. And so we're going to do a podcast on them monthly. It's going to be on the second Wednesdays of every month. We've been working hard behind the scenes to brand it, launch it, help them produce it. And Thomas White is one of the big movers and shakers that is kind of helping push that ball. Also Brian Dixon as well, and JP, and there's others as well that's kicking that one down the road. So can't wait to see that. That should be in 2 weeks. Let me see. Make sure I got that's going to be June 10th. No, June 11th. June 11th. So approximately 1-2 weeks, we'll be having our a monthly podcast for a county with all the leaders. And you can see, kind of pull the curtain back and see how a park system is run. So I can't wait for that. And then also, I can't forget, we've got Aaron's show, Aaron Locks, with the National Academy of Athletics. We have our Youth Sports Mastery show that he co-hosts and runs. I actually think he's got an engagement, so I'll be running that show for him this Thursday. And then, of course, we have our YPN show every Friday, 12 noon Eastern, which is a lot of what we've been talking about today. So, all right. I'll be signing off here. This is Craig LeBlanc, the doorman, with the Daily Parks and Rec Show Leadership Series. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll take care. Bye.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we highlight the essential work that keeps our parks and facilities thriving. From local ball fields to multi-use athletic complexes, field maintenance ensures every space is safe, ready, and welcoming for play and community events. Facility maintenance is the backbone of operational excellence, ensuring that recreation centers, playgrounds, and shared spaces are functional, clean, and built to last. Behind the scenes, equipment maintenance keeps vital tools and machinery in peak condition. At the core of future-forward thinking is sustainability management, integrating green practices that reduce environmental impact and enhance long-term resource stewardship. Facilities maintenance is more than routine upkeep. It's strategic, essential, and foundational to building healthy and resilient communities. This is the Daily Parks and Rec Show, honoring the professionals who keep our spaces running and our communities strong.